What a disappointing loss for the Flyers in Utah. Welcome to Postgame Live, presented by Curado Insurance. Al Morgani, Ashlyn Sullivan here with you. Flyers lose this one 5-4 in overtime after blowing a 3-goal lead in this game. The Flyers led this entire game, and we're going to break all of this down. But you look at overtime as a whole, Al, I thought it was one of the worst managed overtimes this season. You have guys not being able to get off the ice. You have turnovers in overtime for a team that was so successful in overtime earlier this season. This was brutal in OT.
Well, the icings, so you couldn't get guys out, so you were getting tired. But you're right, Ashlyn, it feels like a loss more than, well, it is a loss, but I mean, it feels like a regulation loss. And when you go in like this, it really feels like you had this in control, and the worst part of it is you think you're getting out with the 2 points, but veteran mistakes. And you know, Hathaway's going to be seeing that empty net for a long time, at least in the trip to Colorado. But it feels like more than an overtime loss. This feels like we gave this one away.
Right, absolutely, especially when you have the theme here of the veteran mistakes, like the Travis Konechny turnover in overtime, like the Hathaway empty netter. We're going to show you how Utah got very much back in this game. It's the Game Changer, brought to you by Sloan Automotive. Utah here with a power play goal makes it 4-3. You're now officially nervous about the Flyers blowing this game at this point.
Yeah, you had it in control, and then you get this power play situation coming up, and you get some good movement here, good shot, and it goes off Hayton in front, just off his hip, off of the hockey pants, right off the hip, past goaltender Ersson, who, this was important for me to Ersson to come out with the W in this, to come follow up that last game that he had a really strong game in Vegas, to come in with a victory here, trying to peer around here, goes off a player in front, so they don't get position, and then this is the real killer. They pull the goaltender here. That's, I think, Sanheim against the wall. Can't get his player there. He's a heck of a player, but he comes in. This is what I mean about your key guys there to come in and make that play. You could feel the energy that they had. He just beat him. He just beat him, come flat out, beat him, come cranking down the wall. And then it looks like you can still do it. The empty net here, it's like just a matter of, well, you know what, who's going to put this away? Who's going to put the icing on the cake here? Doesn't shoot it in time. He peers to one side, doesn't look at the other side, gets a stick lifted. Here you're going to go take the shot, takes an extra stride. Full marks for coming in and, you know, not giving up on the play. And he's just looking at that, praying that it doesn't go the wrong way. And it sure enough went the wrong way.
Yes, it did. Hathaway there, a chance, 1 minute and 5 seconds left in the game to bury the game. Didn't capitalize, and the Flyers lose this one in overtime. As we now go back to Utah to check in with Scott Hartnell. And Scotty, this one definitely frustrating when the Flyers, leading the entire game, blow a 3-goal lead. In your mind, what went wrong when you look at this overtime especially?
Well, there were stretches in that game where the Flyers were moving the puck, they were moving their feet, they were fast, they were just electric playing out there. And then there was minutes where the Mammoth did it right back to the Flyers, right? And just not enough consistency. You want to play that way for 60 minutes. Sometimes it's tough to do that, but like you said, you give up a late goal and then the nice shot in overtime as well. It does feel like a loss. It was such an entertaining game, big saves. The power play was working for the Flyers, so very disappointed. It's going to be tough to sleep tonight.
So, Scott, when you talked to Dvorak, I think after the second period, he mentioned we have to play, I think he used the term boring hockey in the third period. Do you think they got a little too risky in that third period?
Well, boring it doesn't mean, trying to go offense and try and cheat. I thought they just sat back too much, right? And they were coming with a lot of speed. They had the energy. This crowd, I tell you, the Delta Center, it was unbelievable. They were on their feet the last couple minutes of the game where they made it a 1-goal game, really using that crowd to their advantage. And when they scored, I couldn't hear JJ talk. He was right beside me. So pretty electric atmosphere here in Utah. And for the Flyers, you used it to their advantage. And for the Flyers, when you sit back, you make a couple bad plays. Garney with the chance to ice it, like you said, Al. Kind of shake your head, but very disappointing.
Brutal loss for the Flyers in overtime. Scotty, thanks so much, and we'll talk to you Friday in Colorado. Hope you hit the slopes.
Thanks, guys.
Still.
Thank you.
And now it's time for our Granite Run Buick GMC play of the game. You know what this is going to be, the game winner here for Utah, and Keller, a guy that is so offensive-minded, such a skilled player. You don't want to see this coming your way if you're Sam Ersson.
Yeah, and there you see that was, I think, TK on the boards there, come in, stop, and then get that shot. It's a heck of a shot there. Just ripped it past, throws the stick into the crowd. For them, it's a terrific win to come back in a game like this. For Ersson, it's really, really disappointing. Pull up there and then just come in and just fire away. And Scott mentioned they just played off energy. The Flyers had it. I mean, they just let it slip away once, twice, 3 times, basically let this slip away. And it would have been such a sweet win coming after the Vegas thing. Almost feels like a double loss when you let this one get away like this.
Because you still have questions, to me, when I think about this loss, you still have now questions, major questions about your goaltender. But when I think about this game and I think about what went wrong, I don't think initially about Sam Ersson, but you needed him to have back-to-back wins, I think, to clear the narrative.
No, that would have been, personally for him, I mean, it was huge to come and win this one back-to-back. But for me, it's like the mistakes by veteran players that you made there, that you couldn't buckle down right at the very end there. And it shouldn't be at this point with some of these players that's the case, where you can't get this done. And that's why it's so disappointing. Your power play scored a couple of goals. You were good in the face-off dot. We've asked so many. Michkov had a terrific first period start to the game. At least 7 shots on goal in this game. So there would have been so many building blocks. But when you don't get the W in a situation like this, you look back and it's the empty net yawning at you that you don't take the shot. It's getting beat on the boards, veteran defenseman. It's getting beat on the other side by a veteran forward. So, I mean, it's one you want to forget, but you can't forget, because it could have been, it could have rolled into Colorado feeling pretty good about yourself.
Especially because you see the theme here with the veteran mistakes. It's one thing if it's Denver Barkey out there and you say the silver lining, okay, he's going to improve as the season goes on, but when it's your veterans, it's definitely concerning. But one guy that definitely didn't struggle tonight, Christian Dvorak, 2 goals in this game, as we go to Utah to hear from him in the Flyers locker room.
Good start tonight, and we did that. I thought for the most part we're the better team. Played some good hockey. Set back a little bit, but it's a tough loss. It stings, but we can't let it drag on the next game.
How did you see the third period?
It wasn't horrible. Yeah, I mean, we could have been a little bit better, a little more aggressive. Set back a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. They got a power play goal and one late, so. Wasn't horrible. Definitely something we could learn from, and just be better the next time.
2 goals on the power play tonight. Do you guys feel like you're moving the puck a lot better and doing the reads that Rick Tocchet's been talking about? Yeah,
for sure. Thought we could have even had a couple more. Power play was going pretty well. I think once we got one, our confidence was much better there, and it was a big part of the game. And it should be better moving forward here.
I guess how do you guys go about putting this behind you? You had the losing streak. You get a win. You have this one locked up. This one's got to sting.
Yeah, it does. But 3 out of 4 points was a good start to the road trip, and we got one more game. So we can't drag our heads. We know we got a tough team waiting for us. So we got to learn from it and move on.
We are back with our Thrill of the Game, brought to you by Universal Theme Parks, the exhibition at the Franklin Institute. The positive from this game, Flyers power play. Yes, 2 power play goals, which you thought was going to be the silver lining, not the case.
Yeah, Ryan mentioned it during the game there. Zegras makes some really nice plays going in, out, getting people moving up at the top there to kind of open up lanes. And there you see Bobby Brink, McBain loses his man, which happens to be Brink right there to get it going. And Zegras, again, I think a nice play right there in the neutral zone. And then Dvorak comes in, takes the shot, and then follows it up. So he's got good wheels coming in. Zegras made a nice play setting that play up coming into the zone, and there you see Dvorak looking with speed, getting the goaltender, don't stop, go right there, get the rebound, knock it past. You're starting to really feel pretty good about the whole situation with that goal.
Right, especially when your power play is clicking, you're thinking, what could go wrong? Well, the third period and overtime could go wrong for the Flyers as they lose this one to Utah. Let's go back to the Flyers locker room to hear from the starting goaltender, Sam Ersson.
Sam, I guess just take us through some of the challenges that team poses, because they have, obviously a lot of skill up front, and you guys contained them pretty well in the first, but you had to know they were coming in the second, I guess.
Yeah, obviously they're a very skilled team. I think for most parts of the game, we did a good job, not allowing them to get many chances. I'd say it's some tough goals, momentum-wise. After we go up 3-0, they're gonna make a push, and when they get 2 quick ones. But I think after that again, we kind of got back, found our game a little bit, and just it sucks. Obviously very tough with giving up a late one and obviously them winning in OT.
Sam, that third goal, it was just hard to see from our vantage point. Did that hit somebody in front, or did that hit you?
I think it hit like a stick, and then it kind of like nicked my glove too. I don't know, it's a tough one, but got to find a way to come up with those saves, and like it's a big moment, and we need a save there.
How'd you see the tying goal?
I mean, the tough bounce, and they kind of like Keller like gets a chance to break into the net, and it's again like one of those. You just got to find a way to come up with a save.
Do you guys have to? Garnet obviously had the empty net. Do you guys have to say anything to him, pick him up, or?
No, he knows. Like everybody's back in here. We've had that all year, so that's nothing changes like that. And obviously it sucks like losing this game, but it's not on one guy. It's on everybody, and you just got to find a way to bounce back here. Just not let it stick with us too much. Like we got to find a way to just. It sucks. Let it sink for the night, and then find a way to regroup and come back.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks.
You hear Sam Ersson there talk about the momentum swings with these goals. Overall, Sam Ersson played great in periods of play, but it was when the goals happened, I thought, where it just swung the game in such a different direction out.
Yeah, when it had to be the big save at the big moment. I thought he played really well early in the game, smothering the pucks. I mean, the Flyers had a couple of 3-goal leads in this, so you had some, he could have just, he could have buttoned this thing down in front of him, so he continued to have to make saves. But it was early that he was a big reason that they could get off to that 3-0 lead, because he made the saves early without rebounds, just jumping on everything in front. But it was later in the game, Ashton, with those skilled players coming in, maybe a poke check is attempted, maybe whatever, but he's acknowledging it. Had to make a big save at a big moment.
Right, and now you have to wonder Friday's game against the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Vladar is on this trip, and Rick Tocchet talked about it before they went on the road. They brought Vladar in hopes that he could play on Friday. He's skating at every morning skate. But we were talking about if the Flyers win this game and Sam Ersson shows up in big moments, he probably is getting that start on Friday.
I wonder if you wouldn't want to roll with him if he continued out the way he played in that first period. You get something going here, give Vladar a little bit more time. But I think at this point, probably if he's ready to go, Vladar would get the start.
Yes, a big game on Friday against Colorado. But the Flyers, they lose this one to Utah in overtime. We are back with our GMC Performance Player of the Game, Clayton Keller. What a player for the Utah Mammoth. We talked about him in pregame, and then this overtime game winner beats Travis Konechny, takes it the rest of the way, and now you saw this coming from a mile away.
Yeah, it just comes in and just rifles it, and you just felt it, and there goes the stick into the crowd, because they earned their couple of points here with the energy they had, despite trailing in this game for virtually the whole game, to come back and. But you're right, Ashton. You could feel this. You could just feel it coming.
Yeah, Utah soaring back from a 3-0 deficit to win this game in overtime as we go back to Utah to hear from Rick Tocchet.
Grand scheme of things, is that another step in the right direction, especially the way that first period went for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we had good parts of the game, but that's unacceptable what happened tonight. So there's really not much to say. That we sunk in pressure situations. Something that we got to get out of this team, right? You got to rise to the occasion. You got to want to be out there in pressure situations. A couple of guys sunk in certain situations. So it's the bottom line. So we got to have to recover from it.
Were these maybe some of the symptoms that you guys had during the losing streak kind of crept back into the third period?
Well, yeah, I think there's individual moments of whether they call them, the brain farts or whatever you want to call them. It's just. You got to seize the moment, and I thought we sunk a little bit, so we got to get that out of our system here.
The penalty that Juleson takes, he's obviously sticking up for Jamie, who takes a hit. Is that a play where you say no?
Take a punch in the mouth. No, and I love Jules, but take a punch in the mouth. You got to win the game, or whatever. I don't even know what happened. You can't take a penalty there. And then the PK, you got to come out and block that shot, play aggressive, and we sunk, and we let Gunther, who's one of the best shooters in the league, go and shoot the puck. So it's just obviously we unraveled, and we got to put the pieces back.
Positive side, the power play had 2 goals. Did you like the movement and what you saw?
Yeah, I liked it early, and we did a good job. But then the last 1 or 2, we revert to old style again. It's just, this is something that we're going to have to, like I said, I've been here 50 games, and there's some really good stuff. But when the pressure hits this team, we got to learn how to play winning hockey. And you might have to take a punch in the mouth. If there's a puck along the wall, you can't blow snow. When you have a puck, go skate with it. Don't it's things like that. We just got to keep on, we got to keep building certain people, get some of these young guys to understand that and go that direction.
Do you have to say anything to Garnett after that play, or is that something where?
No, what are you going to say? Yeah, I mean, he knows it.
Whew. Adamant Rick Tocchet there. We sunk in pressure situations, and you should want to be in pressure situations. And it's so true. In the biggest moments in this game, the Flyers didn't show up.
Yeah, and I mean, Hathaway is still seeing that empty net.
We all are.
I'm sure. But I think the bigger takeaway is other plays that led to that. Not taking a bad penalty, veteran players not making plays against the wall, whether it's whichever Travis on one side or the other side against the wall. And these are, mind you, these are after playing really well the first couple of periods here, but those are those moments. What I really take out of that interview with the coach is he's not accepting there were good signs from this. No, there weren't. Because the point went away because of the way we played in that last period. So it's not like, oh yeah, let's look at the sunny side here, let's look at the bright side. No, there's not much right now that's a bright side. Yeah, the power play worked better, but boy, we gave it away.
Yeah, and that silver lining should be the encouraging part of this Flyers team, because maybe a month ago you are looking at the positive signs, and Rick Tocchet wants none of that right now. And I think that as a whole, Tocchet said it a couple weeks ago, got to learn how to win. And this Flyers team isn't quite there yet.